next I'm going to take this and modulate it to triplets in a very, very half-hearted approximation of what tabla players try to do, except that I'm not going to play the entire pattern. I'm just going to play the first half. And Dan will laugh at me. Ahoy there, folks. Nate from the 80/20 Drummer and Real Talk. I have no idea what my hair looks like right now. The lick is a lick from one of my favorite drummers. I'm proud to say a former teacher, Mr. Dan Weiss. Dan is one of the most innovative drummers of any genre, but he basically invented his own idiom, which all the greats really do. I want to show you this idiom that I learned from Dan, which he didn't invent, but he transcribed and orchestrated for drum kit. And I know that it comes from the tabla tradition, and I don't know anything else. I have a tremendous respect for tabla. I love to listen to it, but I don't claim to have any expertise about it at all. So I want to look at this through the filter of one of my concepts that is all over my videos, which is, of course, the personal drum troupe. And the personal drum troupe means that if you, instead of a single individual or a drum line or a Brazilian samba ensemble at Carnival, that instead of playing loosely, you would play tight. So when you're one person on the drum kit, that means that when two limbs are supposed to hit together, that they really do, and that your sounds are clean, you're playing in the center of the drum, etc. So one way to practice that is to grid out every possible permutation of where a beat could fall. So you'd be like... And there's some merit to doing that, and much respect to my boys, you know who you are. But a more fun way to do that is by using what I call related rates. And that just means you've got ostinatos that renew at different points. So say you're playing a 5-beat ostinato between 3 limbs, and then a 4-beat ostinato with the other limb. And I don't want to make this sound super esoteric. The only thing to take away from this is that it cycles in such a way that every bar there's going to be some weird new permutation. So let me show you really quickly this Dan Weiss idiom that I'm going to play for you, and I'm going to show you in a few different ways. So first I'm just going to show it to you in 8 notes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that's the entire thing. I wanted to start and stop so you heard the endpoints of it. But if you were to play it slightly faster but still in straight eights, it just has a nice little lilt, like a little bit of a Brian Blade or a Stanton Moore, New Orleans, Johnny Vidakovich type of vibe to it. So 2, 3, 4. It's a little Steve Gadd-ish too. It's just a fun thing to play. So really slowly, let me demonstrate that for you. Of course, it'll be transcribed. 2 and 3 and 4 and... So the very first thing I would do is just learn to practice that beat and just play it slowly with the metronome and just kind of sit with it like it's a part of a looping exercise. And you're going to see that even within that beat, there are plenty of places where if it's not completely clean, it'll be painfully obvious. So this is a great way to shed your personal drum troupe. Another thing you can do is move the right hand to the rectum rim, which makes the sound drier. It makes it all the more excruciating if you're not clean. Right? Okay. So let's go in two directions with this. Number one, I'm going to isolate a little kernel from it that you can practice with a couple of related rates. And next, I'm going to take this and modulate it to triplets in a very, very half-hearted approximation of what tabla players try to do, except that I'm not going to play the entire pattern. I'm just going to play the first half. And Dan will laugh at me. Okay. But the most important kernel out of this is obviously this idiom. So let's just think of it in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. I mean, if you're a beginner starting out, or you're an intermediate, maybe you're one of my coaching students working your way through the first couple modules of the coaching course, that's plenty to work on for, say, week 1. And you more advanced guys, and you guys who start out on this after a couple of weeks, a cool thing to do will be to play quarter notes on the ride cymbal, say with the right hand, over the top of this. So let me see if I can do this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Take it to the next level, just play half notes with the right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is modulate to triplets with this fractional beat. And then we will go back to Dan's entire beat and work on modulating that to triplets. So that'll just sound like this when we're playing it in triplets. 1, 2, 3, 4. And something fun to do is to go 2 or 4 bars playing in one rate, and then 2 to 4 bars playing in another rate without disrupting the pattern. So let me demonstrate that. I'll do 2 bars of 8th notes and then 2 bars of triplets. 1, 2, 3, 4. And interesting how that cycles around. So you're back at the 1. Okay, so now advanced level stuff. And this will be transcribed for you, but for you super advanced guys, it may be worth trying to figure this out on your own. And that is playing the beat, the original Dan Weiss beat, over triplets. So I'm going to give you a metronome to aid you here. Let you hear what that sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the last little bit that I want to cover is modulating from 8th notes to triplets, but this time we're going to do swung 8ths in the original tempo. So we're going to do another thing that I like to do to practice this, which is move the metronome to what I call the 8th note offbeat. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, it'll be 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. So for instance, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not quite my tempo. So 2 bars of swung 8th and then 2 bars of triplet. And if that sounds confusing to say, wait till you try to play it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and the last thing is that all of this is just a means to an end to incorporate some of this stuff into your vocabulary. So the next time you're improvising or playing some slow swing or taking a solo, you'll have a different picture of what to do with your lambs. There you have it. That'll probably go into the B-roll at the beginning of the episode. Folks, if you're new to the channel and you want to get basic, check out something called the 80-20 roadmap. Most drummers make some version of the same 3 mistakes. I'll spoil it for you. They don't play cleanly with themselves, what we worked on today. They don't play in time very well, and they don't control their idea flow very well. If you want to triage those 3 issues and jumpstart your playing, and believe me, I've experimented with this on myself and on my students. Anyway, stepping off the soapbox, the 80-20 roadmap at the link below. It's, rampant commercialism. By the way, did you think this was completely free? It's $5. It'll help you. It's been real. Hope you got something out of this. See you next week for another lesson of the week. Dan is one of the baddest drummers around. Who says that? One of the baddest drummers around. And so anyway, guys, it's been real. I'm Nate for the 80-20 drummer. The 80-20 drummer. Yeah, we're gonna do a lot of outtakes on this one, I think.